Greetings. I'm David Kong, the principal and founder of DEI Advisors. We are very fortunate to have Rob Palleschi, who is the CEO of G6 Hospitality, with us today. Welcome, Rob.
Thanks, David. I don't know about fortunate, but I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm fortunate to spend time with you.
Well, you have a spectacular career journey, and I'm anxious to hear more about it and tell us about that, and also some of the inflection points.
Yeah, first, again, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here today, in particular, uh, for this topic. This morning, we announced that Julie Aerosmith, our CFO, is our new president. So
Oh,
we've
wow.
promoted Julie to the president role. So I think it's fitting that I'm having this conversation today. So it's perfect timing. But
That's wonderful news,
you,
by the way.
yeah, it's terrific news. She's been a stalwart for the brand for so long, driving this business forward, and I'm so proud of everything that she's accomplished. She's a great leader. As far as me and my career, I started at 16 at a front desk. Growing up in a crazy Italian family in Connecticut, everybody was somehow in hospitality, whether that was catering or food service, or so going into hotels was somewhat of a natural extension. And I aspired to be a chef and went to Johnson and Wales, and but after a couple of years of smelling like fish in the kitchen, I decided it was time to move to the front of the house, and learn more about hospitality and the business, of hotels. And then from there, I joined from Johnson Wales. I joined Hyatt. Spent a number of years with Hyatt, and then a brand that's I don't think any longer around, Adams Mark. Did a bunch of conversions and openings for Adams Mark, and then joined Capstar. And Capstar, a small hotel company, management company, and
Yeah.
from Capstar became Maristar became Interstate, and today it's Aimbridge.
Right.
Quite a big company,
Yeah.
and then through that, through managing Hilton's and a bunch of other brands, I met the team at DoubleTree, and that was my first opportunity to move to the corporate office. And I joined the DoubleTree brand, after they were acquired by Hilton. So I spent a bunch of years at Hilton, and now here I am at G6. So it's been a fun career. Most of the time was in hotels.
Yeah.
So
But
it's
in between, you worked for TGI Friday too, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's yes. That's one of those things where, sometimes others do know better, and you should listen. And I think uh, that was something I probably, in hindsight, not so sure it was my best career decision, but the I think what I give myself credit for, and a good mentor of mine, Chris Nasetta, was said, he's like, I was proud of me for making the jump out so quickly when I knew it wasn't the right fit. When there was a separation of values and strategy. That's when it was time for me to go somewhere else, and I jumped pretty fast. And thanks to the kind folks at Blackstone, they moved me over to G6. So
Wow,
I've been
that's
here for
great.
6 years now, so it's exciting.
But we always learn something, regardless of the job, and whether you like it or not, whether it actually pay dividends or not, you always learn something. And I applaud you for making the tough decision to leave a job when you don't feel the value and strategies align. That takes courage.
Yeah, it actually was very freeing. I was, I wasn't focused on the right thing at the time when I knew that things were going awry. And, I was more focused on how this would look. It was a pretty loud exit from Hilton, And it was a great departure. The Hilton family is amazing. I still love them all. But it was time for me to go on, and leaving that, I was, oh, here I am. I'm going to be the CEO, and look at how great I am. And then when it didn't work out, I was more focused on that. And then I started, really thinking about it. I'm like, no, there's with this separation and this, I need to do this, and I need to make this change, and I need to do it quickly. And so it was not stop thinking about what others think of me and start focusing on what's important. And really what's important is always that foundation of having those values, that honesty, integrity, and there's always a good way to do business.
Yeah, precisely. So let's talk about lessons that we learn from our setbacks and disappointments. We all have them, and we always try to learn from them. So tell us some of the lessons that you learned.
Yeah, I learned that, that you've got to stay rooted in your foundation. You've got to stay rooted in service to others. You must stay rooted in that honesty, transparency, no matter what. And if that's your foundation, then no matter what the mistakes are, they're short-lived, and they're short-term fumbles. Because if you've got that great playbook, right, and that foundation, you'll go on to do bigger and better things, and you just can't let it bother you, and you need to brush yourself off, and you need to move on. And I think sometimes we delay, or we hesitate to make a change because we're more concerned about what others are thinking of us in that instance. And we all make mistakes, and I think we need to accept it. We need to own it, and dust ourselves off and move on. And I don't have any great genius advice, but I do know that whether it's that foundation of those values, or your network, your friends, your partners, those people that you can bounce the ideas off of, that are going to give you that honest feedback, that's what's so critically important. And if you've got those two, foundations, you're going to be fine no matter what happens.
That's great advice. At the moment when you are experiencing setbacks and disappointments, it's just so discouraging. But your point is it's transitory. It too will pass. That's a very good point. And always go back to your foundation, which is your values and also your support network. That's outstanding advice. Thanks for sharing that.
No, thank you. It's not. I've never been the most articulate, so I just kind of lay it on the table.
Oh, that's great advice. Thank you. And I mean, if Rob is not articulate, I don't know who is.
You are, my friend.
Let's talk about challenges. We all have them. We sometimes experience them daily. What is your approach to challenges in general?
Yeah, my approach to any sort of challenge or a dispute, anything along those lines, is really that the truth always lies in the middle, and that if we spend the time to listen, spend the time to better understand, sometimes put those biases aside and focus on the root cause of whatever that is, that whether that's a challenge, whether it's a dispute, whatever that is, I think you can get there. But then most importantly, definitely solicit the feedback of others in all these challenges. And whether it's a personal challenge, or whether it's a business challenge or a company challenge, don't be afraid to ask others for help. I think that, some perceive that as a sign of weakness. I don't. I have the benefit of going through life knowing with full confidence that I am not the smartest guy in the room. I know this 100%. And so I have to look to others for guidance and their input. And I think if you're mindful of, that where that truth lies in the middle, that you need to do the homework, you need to understand, and you solicit the feedback from others. I think that's how you really overcome obstacles, challenges, and really just navigate these things. You know, it was years and years ago. There was an interview with on Johnny Carson, and it was with Smokey Robinson, and his mother was there. This is back in the 70s, and I remember the one quote was that she said, "From the time you're born to the time you ride in a hearse, ain't nothing so bad that it couldn't be worse."
No.
And so I always keep that in the back of my head. So no matter what the challenge is or the obstacle is, you know what, could always be worse.
Yeah, that's a wonderful thought, and also like the point that you made about soliciting advice from others. Sometimes it takes confidence to do that, and being open-minded and accepting whatever it is that person wants to tell you is the right thing to do. It's an example of great leadership.
I agree. I totally agree, and it makes it I think it makes all of us better.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you've been in business for a little while, and certainly you've learned a lot along the way. If you were to give advice to your younger self, let's just say when you were starting off, what would you say to your younger self?
First, I'd smack me. But I would say slow down. Take a little bit of time to enjoy the ride. It's not, it's the journey, not the destination. So I would say, slow down. I would encourage myself to ask better questions. I still struggle with that today, and I think we could all always ask better questions and more insightful questions, and questions, to learn and to understand, not some of those questions that are more, feel accusatory, right? Ask the right questions and better understand the facts. I think that's ultimately what we try to want to do. But I guess I would give myself that advice, and I give it to a lot of people I'm around, today, and the team members. I'm like, just, slow down, take a deep breath, and are we asking the right question here? And do we really understand what the issue is at hand? So that's probably what I would do or say.
That's great advice, because I remember when I was coming up the ladder, I was in such a rush to climb it as fast as I could. And of course, sometimes you're rash and doing things and you didn't think through it, or you didn't solicit the right advice and approach. And so there's just so much there that you talked about. Great
I
advice.
just say, I always admire those, and you are one of those individuals that, sitting, at the AHLA executive committee meetings, whether it was the calls or the meetings during some turbulent times, you always found a way to ask a very thoughtful, generous question that would get others to think. And, and sometimes I think that you already knew the answer. You're just trying to guide others there. But it's impressive, and it's a gift, I think, and I think it's something that we all should learn to do better. But you have always been great with that.
Oh, you're so kind to say that.
No, it's genuine. It's true.
Let's talk about you, though. Let's talk about the importance of personal brand. What is your personal brand, and how important is it?
I think, my personal brand is I guess I'd say, truth and or transparency, and just, this is it, really. This is what you get. And I'm often, not the best prepared or have the best remarks, but you're always going to get from me what I'm thinking. It'll be genuine, and I try to be kind. I always admire those that are always giving of themselves to others and helping others, and that, that gift of charity. And so for me, my personal brand is try to be truthful and transparent, but try to be a better person. I think that's kind of the way I would sum it up. I don't spend a lot of time dwelling on it. I just don't. I kind of like, this is who I am.
Yeah, this is exactly the Rob Palleschi that I know. Someone who's honest, has integrity, and is transparent, and is caring, and wants to help others, be of service to others. That's the Rob that I know. That's your personal brand, and that's how you're going to be remembered.
Well,
And
thank
that's
you.
why you've been so successful, Rob. It's a great thing to have that kind of personal brand.
Well, it's perfect for me. The business is perfect for me, right? It's,
Yeah,
service
it's
to
a very
others.
good fit
So,
for you. Yeah. And you've done a great job at G6. You've really executed the strategy from the get-go, and look at a company that's been transformed,
well, thank
all
you.
because of you and your leadership.
It's good. It's the team. We've got really, really, great leaders around, and, our franchise partners, are really embrace the brand, and tolerate my kind of crazy zaniness, and continue to move forward. So it's the team that really makes it happen. So I'm excited. I'm thrilled to just have this role that I have.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's always a team, but it takes a leader, though. And your zaniness is exactly why you're so successful, because that's enthusiasm. When you inject that, everyone around you gets excited too. It's contagious. It's a good thing.
Thanks. Thank you.
Let's switch gears and talk about women and other minority groups that are underrepresented in the executive leadership positions in our industry. Obviously, they face a lot of challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you think of the challenges that women and other minorities face in our industry.
Yeah, I think there's a legacy, thousands of years of obstacles to overcome, and I think organizations such as DEI advisors, shining a light on it. I think other organizations trying to help educate, are critically important as we move forward. But I think it's also incumbent on me, and my colleagues out there to just really put a stake in the ground and say, we will change. We will provide the platform for inclusion. And we need to set that and establish that foundation in our businesses. And it needs to be ingrained in every aspect of the business, and how we do business. And, so the challenges are, they at times they feel insurmountable, but they can be overcome. I mean, and we are making great progress. And, I remember when we were at the AHLA meeting, and you mentioned you were creating this, and you had been thinking about this, and it was just right then and there. I thought, this is brilliant. This is what's so needed. Someone that understands business, but and has been generous in his career, giving back, and now growing this and helping others. This is what's necessary. And I think this will help us continue to learn. This will help us ask the right questions. This will help, I don't want to be skeptical on things, but I think there's an opportunity for some to do things just to showcase themselves, or to showcase, that they're trying to help, or they've accomplished these, these goals, these DE&I goals, and it's not genuine. And I think, you and others are going to shine a light to make sure that it is genuine, that it is authentic, that, that everyone, when they say they are going to do something, they actually do it, and there's accountability. And I guess that's where I'd say is like, it's that accountability, not for show, real, genuine, the desire to make change. And I'm proud of our business, our G6 business, not only with Julie as president, with Farah Bayani, our general counsel, with Tina Burnett, our chief development officer. That's the foundation, and that will help us and others move forward. And they're smart leaders. Forget the fact that they're women. They're smart, intelligent business leaders, and that's what we all need.
Yeah, no, I applaud you and G6 for what you're doing to elevate women and other minority groups to executive leadership positions. There's been all kinds of studies, including McKinsey's, that points to when you have a diverse executive leadership team, you just make better decisions, and the results will be reflected in every way. So I applaud you for your efforts.
Thank you.
And
Thank
you're
you.
right that there needs to be a genuine desire to improve the situation before it can improve. And I'm happy to see that the industry is actually taking a great deal of notice on this and are making some momentous changes for the better. So very encouraged to see that.
Yeah, I think as an industry, I think we do a good job and we do great work out there. We just sometimes it feels like we just don't punch hard enough. We're not punching above our weight, so to speak. And thankfully, with leaders like Chip over at AHLA and AHOA is focused on it, and all the state associations that's going to give us a bigger voice, because we've got a great industry. We just don't punch hard enough sometimes.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let's talk about some of the challenges that have been identified through various surveys. And one of them is the finding of mentors and coaches. What advice do you have for women who find it difficult to find a good mentor or good advocates to help them with their careers?
I would say don't be discouraged. Good mentors, good coaches take time. And sometimes you have to ask sometimes you have to ask the same person multiple times and hit them when it's right. Sometimes it's different people. And I don't think it's dissimilar from a lot of these stories that we hear about these entrepreneurs, right? They have a great idea and they're back to the drawing board time and time again, or they have a great project that they just can't get financed and they go from one lender to the next lender to the next lender. It takes time. And I would just say, don't get discouraged. And stick with it. At times, maybe it's just doing a little bit more legwork, making everyone understand how it's not going to be a burden on that individual, et cetera. But it's also incumbent on all of us that are running companies to ensure that platform exists and that we enable it, we provide the time for it, we support it, and we measure it. We must absolutely measure it and tie it into people's bonus goals, right? Whatever you need to do that's going to make to enable coaching and mentoring to be successful at your organization. I would encourage everybody to jump on board with that. But for those individuals that are seeking, coaches and mentors, again, don't get discouraged. Don't give up. Keep pushing, because they'll come through. Sometimes it just takes time.
Yeah. No, I agree. Let's talk about women and minority groups that may feel like they don't fit because they go to meetings in a room with others and for example, they're the only woman at the table, or they're the only minority person at the table.
Yeah, I think that's got to be incredibly tough. It must be incredibly tough, and I would not. I can't give advice on that from the standpoint that, I don't live and breathe that every day, and I don't want to marginalize and be trite at all. And it's got to be painful. It's got to be tough. But it's, at being at that table is important. The success of those individuals at that table is important. And leaders in the business and others that are sitting around the table have to recognize that and must support it, and help that individual be his or her true self, right? And be open, be authentic, learn from their experiences. We all have something to learn from everyone out there, no matter who they are, where they're from, what walk of life, it doesn't matter. We all have something to learn, so we must listen. And it's just, it must really be, it's got to be really incredibly difficult to be there. And I think I would only say that we as leaders, whatever the role is in this business, we must be open, because we have such a diverse, group of team members. We're such a diverse business all around the world, 365 days a year. I mean, 24 hours, we have to be open. So I probably did not give you a good answer. It's tough to give a good answer to that question.
You actually did, and it's remarkable. You said the same thing that Gilda with JLL has said, and also that I personally tell myself. What she said was, be your genuine self, which is what you said, and tell yourself you have something to offer. And that gives you the confidence and comfort that when you are in a room and you don't feel comfortable, tell yourself that. And I totally agree with that. And you said the same thing, actually. So that's good advice.
She's smarter than me, so she said it much more eloquently, I'm sure.
No, you said the same thing. Let's talk about networking. And we all know that networking is important, whether it's within our organization or outside of it. Really could help with our career. And what's your advice on building these networks?
Yeah, I think it is absolutely critical for especially someone that's growing in the career or in that middle level, and even the senior level. You have to constantly be out there networking, showing up at industry conferences, participating in conferences, not passive, participating, being engaged. It's such, our industry is such a fun business that it's hard not to be engaged. But we also need to network outside of our own industry, right? And learn things from others. And so I would say that you've got your immediate network, you've got your immediate friends, and they could be in different businesses, or your neighbors that you're close to. Engage them. Ask them who else you should meet. Ask them for introductions, introductions to businesses, introductions to people. Sometimes it could even be introductions to process. And with that, you're learning more, you're getting more engaged, you're getting a wider breadth of knowledge. And then you can, I guess, raise that level of engagement with whomever that may be. But, as much as you're going to try to get from them, you must give something back. I guess that's what I would say about networking. You always need to be mindful that you need to return, and you need to be generous to others, and give of your knowledge, give of your time, give of your experience to others. And I think that's where the networking works the best. And it's easy to get, to go back into your little shell and focus and be myopic on your own little work. You have to force yourself out, because again, you'll get more than you end up giving, but you just need to focus on giving as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. And heard this on the radio the other day. It's a relationship. It's kind of like a bank account. You got to make deposits.
Yeah, that's
withdrawals. So it's exactly what you said. You need to be.
Wait, it's not like a credit card? That's true. No, that's really good advice. It's like a bank account, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you got to make deposits. Okay, let's talk about the fact that you've developed a lot of great talent. I mean, you just gave the example. You promoted Julie to be the president of the company. What do you think are the keys to mentoring, coaching other people to help them become more successful?
Yeah, I think you've got to, I think you've got to nudge people. You've got to constantly be that little nudge, a spot, pushing them to, to aspire to being their better selves or aspire to take that next step. If they, if public speaking is not their thing, put them on stage, right? Set up opportunities for them to be on stage. Could be a very short period of time, but then grow and expand and help those individuals get more comfortable with being on stage. If presentations or, working through financial matters and working through put them, nudge them into a space that makes them a little bit uncomfortable and help them grow. You have to be there with them, right? You can't just I'm not just saying push somebody overboard and say, hey, swim. I'm saying that you're going to have to be next to them and providing them with that feedback, providing them with the confidence to get better and better and better at it. And then also, if you have your own personal network, connect them with others that could help, that may be stronger in this skill or that skill. I think that's where, the network isn't just my network. I should share it. And I shouldn't hesitate to pick up the phone and say, David Kong, I need your help with this individual. Can you, take a little bit of time, facilitate an introduction and trust that, that you'll give the right advice and that they're going to learn something from it. But you got to give that nudge. And, I think that's of everything that has, I pretty, I've accomplished a lot. I like to think I've accomplished a lot. It sounds like I'm bragging in my career at a bunch of different places. The only thing I'm proudest of are the team members that have gone on, the people that I've worked with that have gone on to do great things, that are running companies, that are running brands, that's my success right there. That's it. If you could nail down success for me, it's not a great P&L. It's not reorganize the company. It's not sell billions of dollars worth of real estate. It's those individuals, making sure that they're successful. And my push for them is also to make sure that they're giving back. So I think that's success.
I like it a lot. You've helped a lot of people. You've helped them with their careers. You've mentored them into great leaders, and now they're running different companies. And there are many examples that I can think of. It's credit to you, and that's great mentoring and great coaching. Let's talk about, since we're running a little low on time, let's talk about finding inspiration and passion, because our show is about personal empowerment. And I've known you for a long time. You always have that enthusiasm about you, and one gets excited being around you. So what do you suggest that others can do to find inspiration and passion? Because sometimes we all get low.
Yeah, it's, for me, it's seeing, what inspires me is seeing the generosity of others, right? Is others that are selfless, that are giving of themselves, their time, their talents to help others. And that for me is what's the most inspiring. And, I think when I was with Hilton, I had the great fortune of traveling around the world and traveling to many places that I never expected to ever travel, growing up. And, everyone asks what was the best city or what was the best meal. And the best meal is easy for me. I was in Zanzibar, and it was a Thursday night in the center town square. And there were these small little kids spear fishing, and they were handing up their spearfish to their father, who had a small little grill with a couple of sticks of wood, and he was grilling the fish. And they see me, and they bring me over, and they have me sit at a table with a little paper plate and this grilled fish. And everyone was watching. And it was the most just that love, that generosity, you know, that they wanted to share with me, that was the best meal ever. I can never top that. Just seeing that pride and the generosity, and the only way I could reciprocate was like buying everybody around ice cream. That was it. But, you know, because it was, you know, but that's what inspires me. And so I think I would encourage everybody to look at those, you know, around and see others that are in need, others that are challenged, and whether it's in need of, you know, because of you know, food or shelter, or whether it's a need of just being recognized because they are from a diverse group, and you know, help them out and see what others are doing to help them, and that should serve as that, for me, inspires me. You know.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think giving is the biggest fulfillment in life, when you can be of service to others and help others. It's the most gratifying thing to do. And of course,
Absolutely.
others would find inspiration in that as well. Well, Rob, I can talk to you forever. As you know, I always enjoy a conversation, but we're coming to the end of the show. But before we let you go, please, one more piece of advice for women and minority groups that could be struggling with their career aspirations.
Yeah, you know, change is happening. It may be slow, but it is happening. Please do not get discouraged. You know, stay the course. You know, we will right this ship. It took, you know, thousands of years to get us where we are. We're making great progress in a short period of time. And I would say, do not get discouraged. You know, ask the right questions, try to learn from others, and build that network. And seek advice. That's a bunch of different thoughts, but you know, it's just, please don't get discouraged. It's what is right and what is necessary.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. Thanks for sharing that. We are coming to the end of the
Thank
show.
you.
If you enjoyed this interview, please, there are other interviews of similar nature on deiadvisors.org. We hope to see you on our website, deiadvisors.org. And thanks again, Rob. You've been most kind and generous with your time, and I appreciate it. It's always wonderful to visit with you.
It's great. It's great to see you. Thank you for thinking of me. And however I and the team over here at G6 can be assistance to you in your efforts, you know, that's what we're here for. Thank you, David.
Thanks very much for that. That concludes our show. Thank you.